The first line of Josh Lieb's new novel is, "Someday you will beg for the honor of licking my feet, but that's all in the future. At the moment, I'm in the 7th grade." They are the, somewhat uncharitable words of Oliver Watson, a contemptuous 12-year-old in Omaha, Nebraska, who's smarter, or so he thinks, than his fellow classmates and his teachers, and wants to be class president. I'm a Genius of Unspeakable Evil, and I Want to Be Your Class President is published by Razor Bill. Josh Lieb is an Emmy-winning executive producer of The Daily Show with Jon Stewart. He's also worked on The Simpsons and News Radio, among others, and I'm very pleased to welcome him to our show. Hi.
Hi, Leonard.
Didn't you begin working on this novel during the Writers Guild strike?
I did. I was forcibly out of work. We were on strike, so I didn't have an income, and I really couldn't work on anything that would get me an income.
So do you think you would have written it if you hadn't had all that time on your hands?
No, I absolutely wouldn't. It's funny, I'm a writer. I've always wanted to write a book, but because I'm a script writer and a TV writer, whenever I've started a book, it always felt like I was cheating on my job. So,
I don't imagine that you get much opportunity to write for The Daily Show. Doesn't Jon Stewart come up with all of those witticisms on his own?
You know what? He absolutely could. He absolutely.
You said could.
He could,
but doesn't.
He doesn't, because he could do it for 2 weeks and then he would die of exhaustion. But we're just there to keep him company.
And feed him some good ideas.
Occasionally.
Isn't it true that you've sold the film rights to this?
I did, yeah. Actually, without even the book coming out, off of the treatment that I sold the book on. So that was a little faster than I wanted, but, I'm taking it.
Of course.
Yeah.
Well, of course, the movie's going to turn out to be nothing like the book.
I'm writing the movie right now, so I'm hoping it'll be a little something like the book.
Would you consider this book about young adults to be something that would be put in the young adult section of the book?
It's for the young adult section, but I really wrote it for kids who were like I was, and for adults who are like I am now.
Well, you say like you were. You've said in other interviews that one of the most annoying questions a writer can be asked is if the story is autobiographical or not.
Yeah, but you usually get those from members of your own family. It's like, oh, I know where that came from. Oh, I reckon, I'm writing about a 12-year-old, multi-billionaire super genius who owns armies. Like, that is not autobiographical. I wish it were. It's not.
But some of the thoughts that this kid had, you probably had when you were 12 years old. Can you really remember back to when you were 12 years old?
It's funny. Writing the book tapped in a little bit to that. I have an infant at home, and that's also tapped into a different part of my life. But I can kind of remember when I'm putting a diaper on Gus, remembering just people, and maybe this is a fake memory I'm creating now, but just feeling helpless and people forcibly just putting clothing on me, and there's nothing I could do about it. And writing the book, I kind of tapped into 12-year-old. What you forget about, I think, being 12, or what I forgot, was how angry I was. And because you're not an infant anymore, but you still have a lot of that helplessness. There's still everybody else telling you what to do, where to go. So what Oliver's got that they don't is he actually has the power. So it's a power fantasy for kids that he actually is a billionaire. He actually is smarter than everybody else. He actually can overthrow the government if he wants to. Is
that why you set the novel in Omaha, Nebraska? Because that's where these kinds of millionaires live?
That's where Warren Buffett is. Actually, I'm from South Carolina originally, but my father's family is from Nebraska, and I used to spend all my summers there growing up, at first just going to baseball games and then working at a grocery store, no frills, as a cashier during college. And Omaha's my second hometown, and I love it. And if you're going to run the world, do it from Omaha. It's centrally located, good food.
And if you're going to write a book that is filled with snarky and bilious comments, why not write it from the vantage point of a 12-year-old?
Absolutely. Yeah, they can get away with it.
And so many adolescents are like that. They've reached the point where they think that they are smarter than everybody else.
Yeah, absolutely. They know how the world works, and they're powerless to do anything about it.
Well, in this case, it seems that there are more than a few reasons to question some of Oliver's observations. And there's one thing in particular that makes me question his judgment. According to Oliver, his teacher, Mr. Moorhead, who he accuses of trying to be a cool teacher, is balding. But if we turn to page 6 or plate 1, we see that Mr. Moorhead pretty much has a full head of hair.
You can blame Penguin and Razor Bill for that one. They could have airbrushed a little more hair out of the top of that guy's head. Now, although Oliver is an unreliable narrator to an extent, and yeah, that man is, because that man is balding a little bit. To him as a kid, he's balding a lot, and maybe that's a good picture of Moorhead too, where it doesn't show his bald spot so much.
Well, I'm balding a bit.
No, never, Leonard, never.
What kind of relationship does he have with the other teachers in the school and his fellow students?
Oliver despises, uniformly the other teachers at the school, and pretty much he despises all his fellow students as well. He thinks they're all, basically zombies and monkeys. There is one little girl, Tatiana Lopez, who he admires. She's the meanest girl in school, and she's also the shortest girl in school, and yet everyone in school is terrified of her. And she always dresses in pink, and she's just mean. He loves Tatiana.
Does Oliver let on that he is a genius?
No. Everyone thinks he's the dumbest kid in school. Even his parents. They think he's just this fat, idiotic, can't brush his hair, can't button his shirt kid. He's hidden his light under a bushel until he's 18, and then he can sort of legally claim his empire. And he's got a Warren Buffett-type guy acting as his front man.
When Mr. Moorhead asks Oliver about the book the class is reading, Ray Bradbury's Fahrenheit 451, what's Oliver's opinion about it?
He hates it. He absolutely despises Fahrenheit 451.
Does he know that 451 is actually not the temperature for burning paper?
You know what? He would know. I didn't know that, but he would absolutely know that. There's a difference between me and him. But I actually am not a fan of that book either, so I enjoyed ripping on it a little bit.
And he gets a pathetic smile or a sympathetic smile from the most pathetic boy in the school.
Right.
When he says that he doesn't like it.
Yeah, Randy Sparks. Randy Sparks isn't actually a pathetic boy. Oliver thinks he's just pretending to be pathetic, whereas Randy Sparks is genuinely pathetic. Randy Sparks is, licking peanut butter off his glasses and is trying to scrub sweat stains out of his armpits with a toothbrush in the hallway.